way past this. This incident happened in 2018. So, but people who know more about the situation, they know that was not the beginning, the middle, and the end of what I had to go through with that same exact person, which I had to move states again. So hopefully things are not going to be as bad as it was. But anyway, when I got counseling, the counselor was quick in being able to tell me a lot more about all the things I've been through during the time I was with this individual. And at the end, I went to 3, because I was skeptical of counseling, before. So I was like, so I went to 3 different counselors. So I was like, let's see if she's right, because people blah, blah, blah. Nope, 3. And when I went to 3, 2 of the 3 said he was, well, all of them narcissistic, sociopath. But then 2 of the 3 compared him to Lacey Peterson's husband, Scott. So obviously I asked him, well, who is that? And what was that circumstance about? And what does that mean for me? And how can I protect myself? How can I protect my son? And they gave me extensive education on it. And I was like, well, that doesn't make me feel better. I was already violated by this person. Now you're telling me this person is a sociopath on top of that, based on what we had to go through, what I've been through. So anyway, yeah, it was confirmed. So I was like, oh shit, it doesn't make me feel safer. So I had to move to the great state of Texas, woody whoop, where we're allowed to have firearms and we can protect ourselves. I was in a different state where it's the law is so ambiguous on self-defense, so it makes it difficult for you to know whether or not you could protect yourself and what that would look like if you did. And I was like, well, I'm a good person, never did any crimes, don't smoke, I drink here and there, like 1 cocktail or 2, but that's it, so I've always upright. I don't have any skeletons in my closet. I'm one of those. I know everybody be like, somebody's got something. Nope. Anything I'm willing to tell you is no shame and what what I'm saying? So I'm a straightforward type of person. Like, you get what you get. And because of my faith in God, I tell whatever I want to say. And it's like, it's up to the individual and how they want to interpret that information. So, so I've always just been me. But anyway, I had to move, me and my son to Texas because I could protect myself. And obviously I had to put up cameras, increase security as far as my security company, and I have a monitored community. So we have designated squad cars that stay in our community all day long, 24 hours. They run it through. And so I had to talk to the chief or whoever the head of that is, of the constable for my HOA, and have an in-depth conversation about, the fear. I'm black, he's white, that type of deal. So if I, as a black woman, have to defend myself and take somebody's life from them causing harm, what happens to me and what happens to my son, so they tell me in depth, you don't have anything to worry about. You're in the state of Texas. People are not even allowed to be on your lawn without your permission. And if, somebody is even doing that, they have different escalation and de-escalation rules and laws. So, like if somebody's stealing your car, you go out there and take their life. And that's completely acceptable, because the way they see it is they do it pretty much like, it's not yours. You're not supposed to be there. You shouldn't be where you're not supposed to be. Okay, so that's how they kind of explained it. So it made me feel a lot more safer. And then any night, if I don't feel comfortable or I have a moment, my intuition is like a little off, then I would have to call and just be like, look, I don't feel safe tonight. Can you guys just run extra patrols around my house or sit right in front of my house or something? And they do it, So it's a good situation for me. But anyway, getting back to the barrier, I had to get the help for that. And then to understand, because I have a science type of mind, like, here's the problem. I need to know why this happened, and the information. And then obviously professionals are better at uncovering and unlocking things like that, especially if that's not the way you run around in life thinking or feel, you know. So I like to be the way I am now, jovial, happy, and I don't want anybody stealing that. So, and that's always been my main thing, you know, with God since I was a little girl. No matter what, don't take my livelihood away from me, Lord, no matter what I go through. And he never has. I've always been able to bounce back. And even as I've gotten older, just faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. So it's like I've mastered moving forward, healing, and doing what needs to do so I can make sure I go to the next level. And just, by the way, everything I set out in life to do, I've gotten, you know, everything. There's not one thing that I set out to do that I didn't get. Now, sometimes there were obstacles, but I learned that those obstacles, at the end of those obstacles, God had something bigger for me that took it to a different level that I would never even dream about. So my love and my compassion for God is definitely the number one thing in my life. I may not know the Bible back and forward and all that stuff, and you know, but to me that's okay. He works. He works for me. And he's been there through everything, you know, and I've learned, you know, a lot about just church people in general. You know, I grew up in church, by the way. My grandmother was a pastor, and so I'm very familiar with it. So, but I'm still not a pastor. But just to talk about the getting past those type of barriers where they're so heavy and they feel egregious to where it might make you feel stuck for a little bit. Okay, now remember, the whole purpose is to unlock your purpose, okay? If you allow the barrier to remain and you don't take the proper steps to knock it down, boom, and get it out of your way, you're gonna be stuck with that. And then that can cause bitterness, anger, pain, a lot of things, vengeance, revenge, whatever you call it. And you don't want to live like that. You want to live your best life and be your best self in the best form that you can be. And you want to be able to grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically as well. So, and you can't do that if you allow one little thing or two little things, or, you know, to weigh you down and keep you there and keep you stuck for the rest of your life. We have one life to live. So the best thing for you to do is get rid of these issues, and the only way you can do it is you got to hit it head on. You gotta run. It's like being on a football field. When I see the football players, as soon as the quarterback hikes it, bam, the game starts. The players are running, just boom, boom, knocking each other out of the way, you know, and flipping each other over. And that's the way we have to look at life. We have to be pit bulls. We have to be dogs. We have to be, you know, warriors, you know, but warriors in Christ, you know, or warriors in whatever you want to be in. Some people are just spiritualists. They're not, you know, well, I'm not going to try to speak for other people, but it's just, think of life as like, boom. And when a player gets tackled, they get stopped in that moment. But guess what? They're going to get up and keep fighting to get more yardage, you know, to get to the goal line, you know. And that's what any type of sport, soccer, volleyball. Well, you know, I can't say volleyball. You know, I got to get back up on the rules. I mean, I know how we move around the court, and I used to play, but just, you keep fighting for the score. You fight to win, okay? But in life, you're fighting to win for you. You're fighting to win in this game of life. And if any obstacles knock you down, knock you back to the yardage, and you just sit there, you are harming yourself. It's like, get back up. Get back up. It doesn't matter if somebody's there to support you or not. This is your life. If you want to be miserable for the rest of your life, just stay where you are. But I would encourage you not to do that, because you have no idea the blessings that are sitting on the other side. And it's almost like if I keep it with the football theme, you know, I could use the chessboard, you know, again, but if I keep it with the football theme, it's like, okay, here's the goalie on one side, here's the other goalie, okay? You're charging, and then somebody knocks you back, right? And then you might have to start back at the 20-yard line, you know? And then, but you're closer. You know, you're not at the 10, hold on, let me see how it goes. 10, 20. Okay, and then it goes, so 40-yard line, trying to go way over to the opposite side. So get up, figure out your strategy, have a clear goal, And if you don't know how to build a strategy, get with people who are going where you want to go in life. And that could be emotionally, spiritually, that. You have some people that are still healing, you know. Maybe get in a group counseling setting, or just go up to meetup groups where they talk about healing, you know, seminars, whatever you need to do to get in the company of people who are where you want to be, okay? And then that helps move you a little bit closer, okay? And then you're going to have your next setback, or your next barrier that might jump up at you out of nowhere. So the best way to do it is, look, clear goals. Remember, the life is a battle between good and evil, right? So you got God on one side and you got devil and his people on the other side, and you got your angels with God and angels with the, you know, the whatever. So so you got to think of it. There's always going to be an obstacle that's placed in your way, okay? And you have to jump over that obstacle to keep moving, to get to that goal, you know, or get that touchdown. You get what I'm saying? Get your touchdown in life, okay? So the way you could do that is, and trust me, I'm on this, is just first set a goal. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? After you figure out what you want to do, make a tangible plan. Okay, how am I going to get there? Okay, after you make your tangible plan, you know, just make sure it's you know, it's your plan of action that will get you from one step to the next step. Don't skip any steps. Some people, they like to rush in, like, I'm gonna be rich next year and I'll do this, blah, blah, blah. You are doing yourself a disservice, because everybody who's gotten rich, unless you win the lottery or something like that, they either had to inherit something where it was given to them, or they had to work for it. And it takes time, it takes barriers, it takes not giving up on yourself. You have to believe in yourself 100%. You know, the way I was able to do that in my own life is I put God first in my life. You know what I'm saying? Now, I do cuss, you know, but that doesn't take away from me and God's relationship. I don't try to do harm to other people. That's just not me. But I do defend myself. So I could also be the pit bull on the opposite side. But I won't sit up there, like, for instance, if I get cheated on, you might come home and all my stuff might be gone. And you're like, well, where'd she go? Okay, and then I'm not picking up my phone or anything else. That's how I do it, because I don't want to argue with you, and I don't care why you do what you did. And, you know, I don't, those are just, to me, those are excuses. My thing is, everybody gets to calculate their choices. So some people calculate cheating. Some people calculate hurting other people. You know, that rape was a calculation. You know, it's not my job to sit up there and try to figure out what's in that person's brain, why it's in their brain, why they would do what they did. That's not my responsibility. My responsibility was to pray, pray, and pray, and cry it out, acknowledge the feelings that you have in that moment, and cry it out, get it out of your system. Because the main thing is, if I stayed there, look at this, here's the goal line. If I, you know, getting physically assaulted in any way,